Okay, now let's talk about variables and data types. So these are the just building blocks. But before we do that, let's go ahead and create a directory for variables and data types. So somewhere here, you can just say make directory, and then we can just call it variables underscore data underscore types, and then we have a new directory. Now if you click somewhere here, we can see that we have a new directory called variables underscore data types. Right, now we must actually move to the directory, or we can change directory. So I just want to copy the full name here, and then we can use this command to change the directory. So cd just means change directory. Now what is a variable? Let's make a storage box analogy. I want you to imagine that you are cleaning your room. You've got books, you've got phone chargers, you've got snacks, all sort of things. You don't just throw them in a big pile in the corner, do you? You get some storage boxes, you put your books in one box, and then you label it books, and then you can put your chargers in another and label it chargers. So a variable in Python is like one of these label boxes. It's a container in the computer's memory where we can store a piece of information, and then we give it a name so that we can find it again later on. So the syntax is super simple. It's just the name of the box is the thing that you want to store. Now, for example, we can have something like player name is Tandy. So this equal sign is not the same as mathematics. You must understand that it's not the same as math. It doesn't mean that the player name is equal to Tandy. All right. In Python, it's the assignment operator. It means put the thing on the right inside the box labeled on the left. So we are assigning the value Tandy to the variable player name. We have our storage boxes, but think about it. You probably wouldn't store soup in a cardboard box, would you? And you wouldn't store a single t-shirt in a giant crate. So the type of box that you use depends on the type of the stuff that you're storing. So Python thinks the same way. It calls these categories data types. So for now, we only need to know the 4 common ones. Let's go ahead and create a new file. So here I'm going to make a new file called data. So we can just say new item data types .py, and then we can go ahead and open that file. So you'll find it in that folder. So strings, let me just make a comment. I can say maybe a variable holding a string. Anyway, the pound symbol or the hash symbol is for comments. Okay, we always do comments on code. For example, we can say my city, Bloemfontein. Now this is a string is for any text. It's the same thing that we used in our print function last time to tell Python something is a text. So we wrap it in the quotation marks. So you can either use double quote or a single quote. Then number 2, we have integers. So I just want to copy this. Number 2, we have integer. Now we can say current year is 2025, and we can come back and say number of students students is 50. So in an integer, this is any whole number. Integer is a whole number. It can be positive, it can be negative, not decimal. It's not a decimal. So think of the things that you can actually count, right? Now, and then we have also floats. Like, for example, we can say a price of biltong per kg 350, and then pi value 0.1. Now a float, this is any number that has a decimal point. So the name is weird, I know, but just think of floating decimal point. Okay, and then we have booleans. Boolean, you can just say is lesson fun true. The boolean this one is special. It can only hold one or two values, true or false. You must notice the capital T and the capital F. In other programming language, we just write them in lower cases, but in Python it must be capital T and capital F. So that's important. Think of it like a light switch. It's either on or off. So there is no in between. Booleans are the foundation for making decisions in our code. Now let's use our variable. So we've pegged our boxes. Now what? The whole point of labeling them was so that we can use them. So for example, let's use our print function, but instead of giving it the text directly, let's give it the name of our variable. So for example, we can have a variable, let's say player name, and then player score is 100. Now watch this. Now to print it, we can just say print, then we're gonna use f string to create a dynamic sentence. Then we can just say welcome to the game, and then here we will be passing the variable player name like that. And then we can print now. If we run this file, let's go ahead and run the file. Data types .py. Then it says welcome to the game Tandy. Where does it get that? It gets from a variable. And then the second one, you are, excuse my spelling, you are starting with a score of 100. And again, where does it get at 100? It prints Tandy and 100. The print function looks at a variable name, opens a box and shows us what's inside. But here's the magic. What if we want to combine them? We can use something called an F string, which stands for format basically. And it's amazing. You just put an F before the first quote, and then you can put your variables directly inside the string by wrapping them in curly braces. How cool is that? The F string automatically pulled the values from our variables and built the sentence for us. So this is incredibly powerful. So we just learned one of the most fundamental concepts in all programming. It might seem simple now, but everything we build from here on out will use variables. Next time we're going to make our programs interactive. We'll learn how to ask the user for information and then store their answers in variables. It's just going to be really exciting.